you heard me? Just checking if I'm in the right place. Only see the FQC, if you can now. My audio coming through?
Yes. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, Kes now.
Okay, great. Awesome.
Are you on the 10 day as well, or organizer, or what?
I think I'll be presenting.
Alright, I'm in doubt myself. I think I'll be presenting too. If somebody shows up.
Oh, well, okay, great. I don't know. I'm just waiting for the next, let's say, 5 minutes, and I'll fix it up here.
Test 1, 2, 3. Okay. Yeah. Good day, everyone. Pleasant welcome to our panel discussion on careers in mathematics. Before we begin, we have our students in the Pure Math Unit 1 class who will render the national anthem. So I ask all rise.
Where peace abode, thy children stand free, on the strength of will and love, with God in all our struggles, sing kids and leave this be, a nation bound together, with our common destiny. As stalwarts we stand for justice and liberty, with wisdom and truth. We will serve and honor thee. No sword nor swift can conquer, for God we shall defend. His blessings shall forever to posterity extend.
Thank you very much for using your talents in the sine and cosine function to sing the national anthem. Okay, call on our esteemed lecturer, Mr. Watkins Shiverton, to lead us in prayer.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Master of Ceremonies. To everyone here gathered, good afternoon. I am so moved just to read 3 verses, and which I think is so fitting, and even as it encompasses what you just sang in the national anthem, Psalms 133. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious ointment upon the head that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard, that went down to the skirts of his garment, as the dew of Hermon, and as the dew that descended upon the mountains of Zion. For there the Lord commanded the blessing, even life forevermore. Let us stand for prayer. Let's pray, God and our Father, how thankful we are for this grand occasion where we can gather, yea, to have a discussion, yea, to share ideas, yea, to have insight into the career of math. And we thank thee that thou, O God, hast given us all things which pertains to life and godliness, even through thy Son, the Lord Jesus Christ. And yea, it is thou who hast even engaged our hearts that we may consider numbers, as you would say to number our days, as you would say to us that it is that which would incline our hearts to wisdom. And even the purpose, the intent of our gathering, we desire that thou wouldst give openness, clarity. We are thankful for the panelists who are here to share with us that which they themselves have experienced through their lives, their careers, their pathways. We are thankful for the students and even all who also are here to join in the discussion. We ask thy blessing upon each one. Cause that you have said clearly to us, may that which would grip our hearts that if any man lack wisdom, let him ask of God who gave liberally and upbraided not. We pray thy blessing upon today's session. Cause that everything will be done in togetherness, unity, and yea, in success, bringing glory to thy name. For we ask it, giving thanks in Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you again, Mr. Shiverton. I would like us to turn our attention to some opening remarks by Mr. Enanga, another of our well-loved math tutor here at CFBC. Mr. Enanga.
Okay, good morning, this afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. I want to start by playing a video that's going to give everybody a chuckle just to set the mood. This was based on a true story, by the way. Let me make sure my sound is going to come through. The sound going to come through the system? Pardon me? The screens? Okay, here we go. So that's about smart math here. Watch this. Wait. You want more slices? Say please. So you only have how many slices now? You want to see 3 slices? Okay, hold on. Wait. Let's see. Just give me 3 seconds. No, we can do it here. We can do it here. Wait. No. Wait. Okay. How many slices do you have now? You happy now? What do you say? So you have 3 slices? You happy? Awesome! Thank you, Daddy. Okay, good job. Okay, so a lot of people keep asking, am I going to use math in real life? As trivial as that's looked to all of us, that actually happens in real life, where people who end up being smarter than you are not rocket science, but when they just know you're ignorant of certain things, like decimal places, you could get taken, right? So good afternoon, everybody. The protocol would say that there are senior lecturers here and invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, and students. It has been said that mathematics is not only about numbers, equations, computations, and algorithms. It is also about understanding. It's a universal language, and it's the most concise and I would say democratic way of expressing certain ideas. It drives innovation and problem-solving processes. Now, does this look like a Rubik's Cube? I can't hear you. Do you think it's a Rubik's Cube? All right, let me show you some magic. It actually comes out and makes other stuff. This is math in action. So it drives innovation, and it's precise, just as we said in the opening statement. So math is integral to countless careers. So embracing mathematics is not only going to open doors to a diverse career opportunity, but it can also equip you with essential skills for your future, making sure that somebody doesn't give you 3 slices of pizza to make you happy, to think you got 3 slices, even though it's just 1 slice. Mathematics can also help with critical thinking, embracing creativity, and fostering resilience. Now, currently, students study math may feel it's boring. They ask, when am I going to use this in real life? But you see, math is the foundation of pretty much everything. If the math isn't working, your planes are not going to work, your bank account is not going to work, your games are not going to work, nothing is going to work. So from engineering to finance to cryptography to cybersecurity to actuarial science, to epidemiology, data science to medicine, the skills you acquire in math will empower you to shape our world. In other words, the study of math can end in magnificence. But it's not only your careers, it's about the impact you can make. Mathematics enables us to tackle global challenges, including climate change, healthcare, AI, and just not so trivial to say that your work could and will change lives. So students of math, I encourage you to embrace a challenge. Every problem you solve now creates a neural connection in your brain. It sharpens your mind and prepares you for the future. So believe in your potential. You are the innovators, the leaders, and the problem solvers of tomorrow. So when we give you guys homework, that's what we're trying to do. Do not abuse us and say we are killing you guys with homework. This is setting you up for these things we're speaking about, those neural connections and strengthening your brain. It's almost like going to the gym. Your brain has lots of muscles in there, and math helps build those. So, diving deep to your studies, embrace the challenges, collaborate with your peers, and never hesitate to ask questions. The world needs your passion, your ideas, and your math prowess. See, we're built different. Those who think math think different. They live different. They make decisions that are grounded in undisputable facts. The numbers never lie. So I hope the discussion today will ignite your love for mathematics and enlighten you as to the incredible career opportunities. The speakers will highlight the vital role mathematics plays in various careers, shaping our world in significantly important ways. You will also be provided with information on the upcoming opportunities in the world of mathematics available at the University of the West Indies, a sterling global institution. Remember, you have a wealth of promising career prospects ahead of you, so listen to everything that's going to be presented to you today. So without further ado, I'm going to stop here, and I think I'm going to introduce, am I introducing everybody? I'm going to go ahead and do that. So calling to the panel, first we're going to have Mr. Kesna Fairclough. I think he is online, okay? And Miss Gail Gray-Phillip, Kayla Farrell, and Xavier John Bass. So give them a, and, okay. Oh, and Arthur Antoine, and he is Dr. Arthur Antoine. So give everybody a big round of applause, and we'll get this show on the road.
Yeah, just to let everyone know, I'm Ellsworth Diamond. I'm supposed to moderate the discussion. I am a math lecturer here at CFBC for quite a while. I won't say how many. And I believe that math, as said by my colleague, is the foundation for everything. A few probably days, weeks ago, we looked at math and how it drives creativity. Our task here today is to look at math and how it will drive your career. You know, what aspect of mathematics would be involved in different careers. Let me say we have presenters who are in the business world, who are in the education world, who are in the engineering world. but math is wider than that. So, you know, we could invite nurses, we can invite agriculturalists, we can invite volcanologists, and we can go on and on and on. But their role would be just to give you some inspiration about math and your careers. Whether you are set now, you know your career or not, it would be helpful to hear their recommendations and insight. So without further ado, I'm going to turn you over to Mr. Fairclough, who is online. Are you there, Mr. Fairclough? Yes, he's there. Welcome, sir. All right, we're not getting the audio, so we're just working on that. Yes. Yes, so we are grateful to have you, and we are looking forward to your presentation on careers in mathematics, so you can go right ahead.
Okay, great. Let me share my screen. How do I do that? So let's see.
I'm seeing your share button, the green one at the bottom.
Yeah.
We have a visual now.
Awesome. Let's see. Beautiful. All right. So again, my name is Esna Perclough, and I am a PhD student at the University of Cambridge. Specifically, I am in King's College. And so this is interesting because I do not consider myself a mathematician. I am a part of the physics community, and as most of you probably know, that physicists tend to be snobs. We tend to think that we're the smartest of the bunch. But we do use mathematics a lot. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we are.
Hello?
Yes, we're hearing you loudly, clearly. Yes, we're hearing you loudly and clearly.
Okay, great, wonderful. It just went silent. Nice. So, I chose this photo. It's in front of the King's College Chapel, and these are fellow Caribbean folks here in Cambridge and Oxford. This recently happened, and so I hosted some students from Oxford, and they're from the Bahamas, Guyana, Jamaica, and St. Vincent. So Caribbean people are here in Oxbridge, doing great stuff. So a little about me, my background, my academic profile. So as I said, currently at Cambridge doing a PhD in computational methods for material science. Before that, I was at the Virginia Polytechnic Institute and State University, and I did a master's in engineering mechanics. And prior, I earned my BSc in mathematics and material science at the UWI. And as you can see, I have been very fortunate. I must thank the universe and, God for, his grace, because without generous funding available, I wouldn't be able to do any of this. I don't think I'd be able to go to UWI if I didn't have access to some sort of funding. So if you want to know more, ask me at the end. So it's funny because as the person was making the introduction, I thought about this slide. It's my philosophy that studying mathematics without understanding or knowing its applications is analogous to learning a language that you'll never speak. And I think one of the main reasons why we ask ourselves, myself included, why do I need to know this? Is because we don't necessarily, we're not seeing the application. And to be honest, like I did pure math at UWI, and since then I must admit that there are things that I don't remember because I don't use in my day-to-day life. So applications are helpful. Not only does it help solve problems that are relevant to the society, such as climate change or such as problems or offering solutions in finance, but it also helps reinforce uh, the knowledge that we acquire over the years. And so this is a photo of King's College, which is my home. And right up here, where I circled in red, is the home of the great Alan Turing, who, as you probably know, uh, solved the Enigma and, was persecuted for who he happened to be. And so he is recognized. I don't know if you can see, there's a statue down here, but this is the room of Alan Turing here in Cambridge. So as it relates to applications, so my current research is focused mostly on plasma physics. And well, solving problems related to plasma physics to offer solutions to offer insight into the stability of fusion as a source of clean energy. And one of the system equations we solve is the system of ideal magnetohydrodynamics, which is a hyperbolic system of equation. And this system is interesting because there are a lot of cool things happening. There are shocks, there is turbulence, there is like waves, like I think 7 different type of waves present here. And the challenge is, how do we develop numerical methods to capture the shocks within the solution? So like if you look at the top photo, let's see, is my cursor working? The photo at the top, all of those sharp features are what we call shocks, and they represent some sort of discontinuity. If I should take a slice through this, like a one-dimensional slice through this 2D picture, you'll see discontinuities within the solution. And the challenge here is, how do we develop numerical methods to capture these shocks? And so the idea here is that we're using mathematics to solve problems that may not necessarily seem related to mathematics from just a naive point of view. We are using techniques, equations to provide better insight into something like fusion energy, which is in a different field. We're using it to, this test case is also a very standard test case in software development for MHD codes. So we're using mathematics in ways that you may not think at this start. I think most of you are doing CAPE, could be able to be used. So to benchmark codes. So those are very interesting and cool things that I don't have time to really go through. The next system here is the MHD rota test. This is a very classic MHD test problem. We are still solving that system of equation. We have the balance of mass, momentum, and magnetic evolution equation. And we are looking at how does instabilities in plasma uh, send circular alphane waves through our domain, or how do these really affect our fusion reactors? So very cool stuff. And it has implications as well in a broader context to astrophysical jets or stellar wind, which are very cool features observed in outer space. And it's interesting because we're using the same system equations to capture a completely different phenomena. The only difference is boundary conditions and initial conditions. So that's quite cool. The next slide I have. Let's just stop. Okay. Okay. All right. So Carrier Perspex. Uh, so this building here is the Maxwell Center. I am on the third floor. So career prospects for somebody with my background, you can be a computational scientist or a research scientist, an aerospace or mechanical engineer, materials scientist, software developer. And funny enough, there was a PhD student recently who, having never studied a business subject, with the background acquired from the sciences, is now working at one of the most prestigious investment firms looking at quantitative risk and portfolio management. So when it comes on to like, how do you join my profession? If you should ask that, it's complicated because there's no standard way. I followed a non-traditional path in some sense because, as you can see, all of my degrees are kind of in different branches of science. But the reality of it is that any standard like quantitative science subject, um, such as any quantitative science subject, such as engineering, uh, applied mathematics, I don't think statistics, but chemical engineering, stuff of that nature, uh, can get you the skill set. And I think the mathematical sciences is a very interesting uh, field because the same integration, the same mathematics that you do in St. Kitts and Nevis is the same mathematics that we are doing here in England. And it's the same mathematics that we did in Jamaica. So it's very standardized. And as a result, it is the skills that you obtain from these courses. Focus on acquiring the knowledge and also the skills that you can apply it in novel ways or uh, interesting, uh, in new and innovative ways. So that's my presentation, and I'm open to answering any questions you may have, whether that might be how did I secure funding, or what my research is currently, or anything at all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Excellent. I note some appearance of mathematics that we do.
I can't hear.
Hello? Yeah. Are you hearing me now?
Yes.
Yes,
Perfect.
thank you for your excellent presentation. I note as a math lecturer here, Mr. Diamond, the appearance of some of the KP level concepts that we use here in college. I'm not sure if any student have a question for you in relation to the use of math in your career or anything. Anybody? Okay, if I may add a comment to something I find fascinating that you presented.
Right.
Yes. Oh, hold on a minute. Mr. Shiverton has a question.
Yeah, thank you very much for your presentation. Excellent. I also love maths. I used to teach it one time. But just looking at the formulas that you presented, are these your own or is it a team effort that you work with? How does it go that you came up with those? And secondly, what it is that you would have to put forward in terms of completing your program, especially perhaps a thesis, a project, and how do you get all of that tied in to the output? And the last question is why you chose maths.
Okay. Okay, let's start from the last go up. So actually, all my life, but I shouldn't say that, that's quite cliche. But when I was younger doing CAPE, I wanted to be a chemical engineer. And I was very good at chemistry. And I thought, well, oh my God, chemical engineering just sound cool. So I couldn't afford to go to St. Augustine, which is the campus that chemical engineering is offered, the UWI campus. And so I decided, well, the next best thing is Mona. Went to Mona, started in actuarial science. That's where I met Xavier. Hated it. I did not like business and accounting. And so I decided to do math and physics because to me, doing math alone was, I wasn't getting the applications. Uh, as it relates to equations, so those are actually balance laws. They're very standard systems of equations in physics. The first one was the balance of mass. Then you have the balance of momentum, balance of energy, and magnetic uh, evolution equation. So basically, when we have a system, what I was modeling was a system of ideal plasma. So it's a coupling between the Euler equations of hydrodynamics and Maxwell equations. I didn't go through that because of time constraint. But when we study the system some more, you can make some simplifications and it turns out in those. So no, they're not my equation. They're in some way kind of like a simplified system. Um, Looking forward in terms of thesis, I am currently, for my PhD work, I am looking at how to de-ice aircrafts, simulate de-icing on aircrafts. And that's a project with Boeing. Unfortunately, there are a lot of cool stuff that I did with that, but because it's a Boeing project, I cannot really say much about that if you understand what I'm saying.
Okay. Just one quick question. I know we're pressed for time, so we have to move on quickly.
Yeah, of course.
Something you alluded to in terms of flexibility and career choice. What's your take on the role of math or persons having math being flexible with their careers down the road?
That's a very good question because one of the greatest, I think it's interesting because unlike other areas like medicine, where you study medicine at the end, you're a doctor, so your path is pretty set. With mathematics, or even just with any other sciences, really, you have a lot of options. The sciences teach is really a way of thinking. When you do physics, it's the way you look at the world. When you do mathematics, it changes how you think about, just general problems. You become more of a problem solver. And I think those skills are applicable across a wide variety of fields. So it's really, the world is your oyster when you study mathematics. I would argue that you can do anything. It may mean that you may need to, probably learn the terminology a little bit, but the way of thinking is so applicable across areas, and currently we need people who are very good at problem solving.
Great. Thank you, Kesna. Everyone, we do appreciate the contribution by Kesna, and we wish him well in his research, especially if we're flying on one of those planes. We want to make sure it's safe, so Kesna would make us safe. Yes, we would have to move on at this point, Kesna. Thank you again. All the best to you. I would like now to introduce his friend, Xavier John Bass, who is an, I would say, actuarist, and he works with KR Consulting. Xavier.
Okay, so I guess it's coming up. There we go. So I'm an actuary. I'm Xavier John Bass. I work with KR Consulting. A quick background, not as impressive as Kessner, but I went to UWI, Mona, where I studied actuarial science. I did my master's in risk management and financial engineering at Imperial College London. I am an associate of the Society of Actuaries and more recently a chartered enterprise risk analyst, which just means I studied way too many exams. So a quick slide that sounds cool when you work in consulting. It's like a disclaimer, just saying that, don't blame my company if I say something awful. And moving right along. What is an actuary? Has anyone ever heard of actuary before? Is it, yeah? Okay, what have you heard about an actuary? Okay, true. What about what they do? One definition that I'm stealing from my lecturer at UWI is an actuary is someone who identifies, isolates, mitigates, and measures risk. Or put more succinctly, an actuary quantifies risk, right? And what that means, we'll get into in a little bit. So ask yourself the question, what kinds of problems do actuaries solve? Why would you need an actuary? Right? Some of them I have here. Actuaries answer questions like, how much should a company charge for car insurance? What about if these vehicles are driverless? What about in more investing? How much should I contribute to my pension plan if I want to have $1 million by the time I retire? Would that be enough for me to retire on? What about Social Security? What kind of changes can we or should we make so that when me and you retire in 30, 40 years, hopefully, there's money left back? What about how much money should banks hold to protect itself against the risk of people not paying their loan, whether on time or at all? What about how much interest they should charge? And how about investing and what mix of assets should companies hold to protect itself? So there are a lot of different problems that we have to solve as actuaries, and these are in a lot of different fields, from insurance, in consulting where I work, in pensions, banking, investment, and in government, right? So we work in these many fields. So now you have a little bit better idea of what an actuary is, what they do, I hope. Now the next question is, how do I pursue this path? And the long answer is many, many exams. The short answer is many, many exams. But there are a couple paths, right? What I have here on the screen is the path I went through, which is the more American path with the Society of Actuaries. There's also the Institute and Faculty of Actuaries in the UK. But in short, to become an associate, you have to do around, I did 7, now it's 6 exams. And some of these, you also have to do modules and other things. The exams themselves aren't too awful. If you do like a first degree in actuarial science, they teach you a lot of the skills that you need to pass these exams. So it's just a question of doing it. Most people don't finish these exams before they graduate, right? So I graduated with 3, and most actuaries do these exams while they work. The fortunate thing, how it works for most companies, is that you actually get paid more as you pass exams. So you get, your pay is actually tied to exams, whether it's $400 to $800 extra a month for each exam you pass. And it's neat having a career that's kind of, I don't want to say set up for you, but it's usually a lot more difficult to progress in a standard career. Okay, so now you know how to become an actuary. I hope if you have any questions, feel free to stop me at any time. So what does a typical day look like for an actuary? And on any given day, we may be using a myriad of skills and tools. So being an actuary, we have to know at least some level of programming, some modeling. Sometimes we may have to audit work or work with finance and accounting, forecasting interest rates and mortality, as in, when I say mortality, we mean how people die. No, that sounds weird. As in, we would want to calculate what is the chance of someone dying at a certain age to help price life insurance, that type of thing. And of course, unfortunately, we spend so much time writing reports and documenting. They did not tell me about that, so I'm just warning you. Okay, so that's how I spend my typical day. So we do a little mix of everything from math to econ to statistics, computer science. I consider it very interdisciplinary. And now just to make sure that you guys are still with me, I have a sample math problem, right? I'm sorry, but the math teachers told me they gave up their class time, so I'm filling in. So this is one simplified way of how we use actuarial math, right? So you can imagine you have an insurance company that insures 1,000 18-year-olds, right? Assume 300 of them get in accidents, and each accident costs around $500. So the question we have to answer is, how much or what's the minimum we should be charging for this insurance? Any ideas, any questions, how we approach it? Yeah? Any brave souls? So how we would approach this problem, we would think, okay, what's the probability of getting in an accident? Right? We had 300 people out of 1,000, so that's 30%. And if we do get into an accident, how much do I have to pay? That's $500. So we multiply those two things, severity and frequency, and we get 30% of 500, or $150 is the absolute minimum that we can charge, right? And there's a lot more things that go into that. We might have to think, okay, that's the average, but what happens if it's more? What happens if the President of America decides to put far-reaching tariffs on car parts and everything flowing in, right, overnight? So that has to be adjusted as well. And there's a lot of things that go into it, but at its simple level, at least for short-term car insurance, it's the same math that you learn right here, right? And I do have another question. I'm not going to go through it with you. If you do figure it out, I have $10. Moving right along. So, in short, an actuary, it's often one of the top 10 jobs in terms of ratings and salaries and that type of stuff. It's relatively low stress. They always say it's low stress, but I think the people who answered that survey were finished with exams, right? So there's that. And it has fairly stable job security. And people generally don't fire actuaries unless they're stealing money or something like that. And we use math. Of course, econ is, again, lots of exams. So that is it on my introduction presentation. Any questions? Yeah? I have one more exam to go, and then I'm a fully qualified actuary. So, but I'm doing the exam in November, so right now I'm not stressed. If I were doing it in May, I probably would be. Yeah. Yes?
If you have had stress, how did you deal with it?
Well, so again, the exams and balancing that well work can be stressful. One of the coping mechanisms that you can do is trying to maintain a schedule, a routine, right? The stress really comes from waiting too late and trying to catch up last minute. I know you guys have CAPE in a month or two, so I'm hoping this isn't any of you. But when you have these exams, you may start 4 months in advance studying, going through things, so that when the day is coming closer, it's not a whole lot to catch up on. But even when you are stressed, take breaks, make sure you have enough sleep. Sleep. Oh, it's working, okay. Yeah, so sleep is important, water and food are important. A lot of us neglect that when we get into full exam and stress mode, so take time to take care of yourself.
Okay. Yeah, Mr. Shiverton.
Hey.
Yeah, just a quick question. These are professional certification exams, right?
Yes.
I know some of them comes with, unfortunately, an expiration date. So is this also so for actuaries?
No, so that's a good question.
Have certification, you're going to go recertify 2-3 years after?
No, so an actuary, let me make this point, it's kind of distinct from a lot of other fields in that it's a profession. When I say a profession, I mean we have a governing body. There are protocols for discipline. You can have the designation revoked if, again, you do something illegal. There are standard accepted educational practices. So aside from the American route, the UK route, there's South Africa, there is India, but they all have to meet a certain international actual association standard. So it's a profession, and the only way really you can lose that is if you do something horrendously illegal, you steal money or something like that. You also have to continue to learn. So even though I don't have to retake exams after I'm qualified, I do expect you to spend time in seminars or just reading, just keeping up to date with the field. But once you're an actuary, you're an actuary.
Okay. I have one final question for you. It's related to, you speak about calculating the insurance for an 18-year-old driver.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned there could be other factors, variables. That seems endless. So my question is, in your field, where do you control variables?
That's a good question. So, again, even though we use math, we do have to answer often to a board of director, to business people, right? And business people, well, actually they care about money. So as precise as you can go down to the cent, they really don't care. We learn about the concept of materiality, which just means that find the smallest amount of money where no one cares anymore, right? So that is kind of how we use to judge, okay, how should we continue? But one point, just to really emphasize, is that a model is just capturing as good as possible what is reality. It's not expected to be perfect. It's not expected to be fully realistic. So a model is just used to capture how the main ideas push a certain result. For instance, it might be using the same car insurance. It might be the age of the person, the type of car they are driving. We may not necessarily care about the color of the car. Even if it has an impact, it might be too small for us to really care about, right? So we pick the important things and we focus on those. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Xavier Bass. Waiting online is Dr. Arthur Antwine. So we're going to switch over to, I think it's Zoom we're using. Dr. Antwine is a civil engineer, director of project delivery, and he is associated with the Axiom Consulting and Project Management, LLC, University of Colorado, Boulder. We are pleased to welcome Dr. Antwine. Are you hearing us clearly? Great.
Can you hear me?
Lovely. So, Dr. Antwine, we would just like your contribution to the discussion of careers in mathematics, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thanks so much. You said that protocol. I want to say I'm honored to be given this presentation. I'm trying to see how I could share screen and flow through in 10 minutes or less what I've used as a previous presentation for this format. Ignore the title, and I think let's just use it in this mode for now before I lose screen here. But again, Dr. Arthur Antwine, that's our old Axiom logo. We have a new and rebranded logo, but I did this presentation with CARICOM a while ago, April 2024, but the content applies nonetheless for anybody interested in STEM, or as they say, STEAM these days, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. And I got to give a big shout out and kudos to Dr. Philip Etienne, who I feel nurtured my math career from primary school days, taking lessons. I was doing lessons with A-level students, and that was the foundation of the math for me. Not to digress, but I really feel regardless of where you go with math in whatever career, setting that foundation, and this is why I love these opportunities to impact and engage youth, community college, and even younger, more so Black youth in math, because everybody has a fear of it. Sometimes we inherit it from our parents, etc. But we really need to step out of our comfort zone and get comfortable with math. I almost think of it as a religion. You got to have faith that you will be using it for something, or a piece of it, or a fraction of whatever you learn, and that would take you a long way. But that said, I'll touch on my academic and professional journey, power of STEM or STEAM, as I say here, possible career pathways. This was specific to that previous presentation, but construction and engineering, that's my field, that's my world every day. And feel free to anybody to jump in. I love to keep it conversational. Sorry I couldn't be in the room. I'd love to be in St. Kitts. I was last there designing drainage for your Bastia bypass road and college gut and all that. So I have some experience there. But to give my spiel, how I got from St. Lucia, humble upbringings to Colorado, USA. Although I'm sitting in St. Lucia right now in Castries, I live in VF4 and I live in Atlanta. But not knowing anything about civil engineering, I think I just chose what all my friends were choosing. But it turned out to be a great career pathway because I did something, committed to it. My mom got the big loan and then I got a scholarship, thankfully. But it turned out to be the exact career that I enjoyed. I was always in and around construction sites. Uncle used to have a factory making blocks, etc. And it was a career that didn't have me stuck behind a desk 24/7. And let me know, confirm, is my screen loaded for everybody?
Yes, I.
Okay. All right, continuing on. So from UWI in Trinidad, moved to, I guess fortunate, I was volunteered by my mom to go work for them for free during my summers at UWI. So I went to Halcro during the summers and they took me up as a full-time engineer, young civil engineer, right when I finished UWI 2003. It was a great opportunity. I was with one of the, call it, biggest multinational engineering consulting firms operating in our region, regional office in St. Lucia, and they flew me out to St. Kitts to Trinidad for different types of projects. Did that for a few years. My vocation, again, lucky got a scholarship, went to A&M, I did ocean engineering in my master's. After that, I could not get work in the US, so I returned to Halcro with senior roles now. There's a lot of background noise, you might want to mute. You good?
Yeah. Yes, we're good. Are you hearing the background noise still?
I'm continuing. Anyway, from the masters, I returned to Halcro, then we were an English firm, then acquired by the US CH2M. Did that for a while again, and then I moved to the CDB portfolio of disaster mitigation projects. Yeah, somebody's testing and there's a lot of background noise. Let me know if I should continue. Anybody hearing me?
Hearing you, we are muting our audio so there would be no noise. Are you hearing
maybe
us?
Mute what? Yeah, I could hear you clearly. I was hearing somebody testing the mic and everything.
Oh, no one is testing a mic. But we'll mute on our side and hopefully you won't hear the background.
All right,
noise.
I'll just flow through that.
Yeah.
So post the CDB, I was based in St. Vincent. I moved vocation again, academic vocation. I was shopping from London to Canada to do a PhD, and I got the best deal at the University of Colorado, specifically Boulder, Colorado. Did that for 3 years, wrapped up the PhD, and then moved to large and small firms across the US. Shrewsbury, a really mid-sized firm, consultant, globally 20,000 strong, Mott McDonald. I served there as a project manager, doing just water, wastewater projects. And then I made the ambitious or incentivized move to Axiom, where that got me based in Atlanta and worked doing projects across the southeast of the US. And building on that, gaining the entrepreneurial liberty with key partners, we founded what we inspiringly call A for Almighty One Engineering and Global Project Management Services, doing business by the acronym A1 EGPMS, incorporated in the Caribbean, specifically to serve the small island developing states, all the way south to Guyana. That's my trajectory professionally and academically. In terms of, I'll share this, I don't want to take up too much time, but this is an informative video that really, the first maybe 15 minutes of it or less captures or gives a glimpse at all the possible paths you could take as an engineer. I'll just play a short clip. I fast forwarded. I'll pause there and I'll share the presentation so anybody could watch a full length video at their leisure. But this, it goes on into mechanical engineering, electrical, geotechnical engineering, as it hinted there. But focusing on unbiased being a civil engineer, we touch everything that's the keyword infrastructure related. So from your roads, drainage, airports, bridges, water resources, like dams and water supply and wastewater. It's all under the, call it gamut of a civil engineer. Moving on, for anybody intrigued at an engineering or any STEM career, I advocate for a degree, but there's so many different pathways towards being a professional in any STEM related field these days. There's vocational pathways, there's TVET pathways they encourage, but at the crux of it all, everybody needs that math foundation. Even if you're a carpenter, you got to know how to work your angles and cut the wood right and fit it right, etc. So you could consider cross-disciplinary programs, interdisciplinary degrees, or TVET programs, as I said, and definitely get engaged, stay around people and be in these clubs or events like the National Society of Black Engineers I promote here, that help you foster those skills and help you speak that language as a mathematician, rather than perpetuating the fear of math. Think of it as for me, it was never a fear. It intrigued me to learn more. And if I didn't know how to do it, I want to know how to do it. And if I see somebody could do or solve whatever math problem, I'm trying to see how they're doing it. Other pathways, internships, STEM-related volunteering, it's a big one. This was started off for me, volunteering, not looking for the paycheck. Of course, connecting with professionals. I'm sure there's I'm not sure, I don't know. There probably is a St. Kitts Association of Professional Engineers. There's one in almost every Caribbean state where you could show your interest as a college student and engage with professionals in the field and build that network that helps you know what the day-to-day is like for a mechanical or civil engineer, etc. And going into the tech space, there's so much possibility from YouTube to online coding and online courses, etc. That said, touching on some non-traditional ones, I mean, everybody has community college already. I mentioned the TVET schools, and even pursuing, say, industry-specific certifications, whether it's a welding certification or something else STEM-related that could help you be more marketable. And there's no straight path or linear path to it. Everybody's road towards wherever they end up professionally is based on their motivation and their desires. This one is in the context of that previous presentation. I was just touching on what about that. I was just touching on at the time some of the tech online systems that I use on different projects or with different clients. Some names may look familiar. They all do different things. But basically, somebody's trying hard to get me on all my phones. Basically, these systems are what they call project management information systems, where they house and hold, especially in the cloud these days, everything about a project. So if I'm on a project and I got an iPad, nobody's walking around with hard copy papers anymore. You use whichever system to do what you need to do, whether like a system like Procore. I'm really familiar with this one. It holds the up-to-date design drawings. It holds change order. It holds contract information. It holds daily reports with photos in there. So everything somebody has to go and reference is at the push of a button or stylus on an iPad or on a laptop. And each of these systems do similar for different purposes, really. Oh yeah, I highlighted the main ones that I use up in the right. And then I'll get rid of that for now, but besides focusing on the technical, I love to focus on the so-called softer side of things, where ultimately working on look at any project we look at, from a residential home to a skyscraper to a 20-kilometer highway. It all takes a team. So I really try to promote every chance I get, especially with youth starting off their careers, to focus on besides the technical, besides the skill of mathematics, to focus on building these interpersonal skills and emotional intelligence that makes you more marketable, that makes you shine or outshine the so-called competition. So you're somebody that is responsive and not just ghosting everybody. Even if you get an email and you say okay, or you say one word thanks, you're responsive. But there's a lot to be gained from building up these interpersonal skills. And there's, again, free resources out there. There's to do your assessments, whether it's online, etc. Lastly, I saw the brother show some intriguing, to me, complex equations, the physicists, but I wanted to show the money. I love showing that the advantage you have by building on your math skills, right? And this graph there is I forgot the year this came out, and they update it frequently. But basically, it's stating that when you're in STEM, you have a chance at a higher salary compared to somebody whose degree or not degree, compared to somebody who's not in a STEM field. So just to try to encourage everybody to get into these STEM fields. And with that, I'll take any questions, and feel free to look up the links to either of my books. That's all I got, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Antoine. Any question for Dr. Antoine? Students are smiling. No one has
I wish
an
I was
interest
going
in
to pick
engineering.
on them and call them out.
No one has an interest in engineering. I have a question. Based on
Yes,
that
sir.
little video graphic you were going through quickly, it dawned on me that a few years ago there was a discussion here in St. Kitts as to building a bridge between St. Kitts and Nevis. We have islands like Antigua, Barbuda, Trinidad and Tobago, and a few others where, some of the islands are close by. From an engineering standpoint, why do you think as a Caribbean civilization we haven't built those bridges between these tiny rocks?
I love that question, sir. I feel like that question was planted. We got that question had me going, being philosophical and digressed as far back as it's one of our intellects in our Caribbean intelligentsia that I admire. Sir Eric Williams was the foundation of our rhetoric for that one Caribbean Federation, and why we're still maybe decades away from realizing that question. Everybody will have a different answer, but it's a similar thing. I feel like technically no project is challenging these days. You look at, I still on my bucket list, and I feel closer to working on They say they work on mega projects in the US, multi-million-dollar projects. And when you look at the Middle East, they're doing giga projects, changing the entire landscape of the earth that you can see from outer space in different types of large-scale projects. You could look them up online. But what's the difference? The difference is the leadership. The difference is the gatekeepers. The difference is the politicians, the legislators. Because a bridge from St. Kitts down to Guyana is in this day and age a feasible project. If you look at similar bridges built across larger spans in different parts of the world, it could be any technical challenge could be overcome with the right type of engineering. That's what I believe. But it's just a matter of where we set our goals, right? In terms of the money's out there, the multilaterals always offer the money, but it's what type of projects we want to do. Whether we want to do something aesthetic to pull the electorate our way or our side, or whatever other agenda.
Okay, any other questions? I would just make one quick comment before the next presenter, and that is to point to where you were talking about being engaged in clubs, events, competitions. I like that in your presentation, you spoke to the other areas of our lives that can make our careers enriched. So I hope our students are getting that we should be engaged in extracurricular activities and competitions, and also improving our EQ, our emotional intelligence.
All right, sir. I thank you for the opportunity. I'm going to have to jump off or sign off before I commute to my next 3 p.m. appointment in person, but I want to say thanks again, and I'm accessible. Call, text, email, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, if anybody has a question or query or just needs any advice along the
Thank you
professional or
very much,
academic journey.
Dr. Antoine, and we will do so through Dr. Etienne.
All right.
All
Take
right.
care.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Okay, students, audience here at college and online, that was Dr. Antoine. Our next presenter, we have had all male presenters so far. Our next presenter is none other than Mrs. Kayla Farrell Mills, who is a statistician working at the ECCB. Please welcome her.
As was mentioned, my name is Kayla Farrell Mills, and I've had the privilege to work in various industries where math and statistics have played a critical role. My career has taken me from public health, national statistics, finance, transportation, and now economics. So today I want to show you that math isn't just about solving equations and struggling through homework, but it's a tool that is applicable in almost all parts of your life. How many of you have an Instagram profile? Everybody has one. How many of you have posted on Instagram? You've posted a photo. Okay. When you post your photo, do you go back to see if you got any likes or any comments? Or you just post and then don't look back? Only once. Only once you look back, or only once you post? Only once you look back. Anybody else? You post and check, or you just post and never mind. Whatever happens, happens. You check, right? Okay. So you post a picture, you start to get likes by the hundreds, and you start to say, okay, I'm popular, I'm going viral. What do you do next with that information? Do you now look to see who is liking your picture? Am I being liked by influential persons? Am I being liked by my friends only? Am I touching strangers? Do you look at your insights that Instagram give you to show you how many persons you're reaching or how many persons interact with your account? Now, that kind of information is in itself statistics, and you can use that in the world of content creation on Instagram, on Facebook, on WhatsApp, and you can monetize that, and you can earn from that. So in a lot of ways, you do use statistics, but you probably just never put the mathematical terms to it, right? So for my career journey, personally, I started out, well, my love for statistics came about here at CFBC. Mrs. Philip was actually my teacher in applied maths, and I started loving applied maths from there, and then I decided, okay, I'll do a career in statistics. And many persons would ask me, what are you going to do with that? You could only teach. Why would you go into that? And I just, in my mind, I was set on the statistics. I didn't have the funds to really go away to study, but my mom and I are great researchers, and we found the UWI Open Scholarship. It's actually a fully funded scholarship that pays for everything and gives you a stipend each term for day-to-day living expenses. So that's something that you can take note of to look at if you want to study at UWI. Between my breaks at UWI, summer mostly, I would work at the Department of Statistics down at Bladens, just in front of Credit Union, upstairs the Ministry of Health. And there is where I started getting practical experience on the application of statistics in the country on a national level. And then I saw the need to do minors, so then I ended up doing a bachelor's in statistics with minors in economics and demography, because I felt like that would make me a more rounded statistician. When I came back, I started working at TDC as an accountant. So we moved from statistics direct to now we're in accounting, did our month-to-month financials, and we were able to use statistics to present the revenue earnings, to show them the trends, to help to make those decisions at a management level. I then went into the health information unit. That's at Bladens again, downstairs. But this is an arm in the Department of Health that collects information on how many persons has what diseases and how many persons would have used the medical services in the Federation. Luckily or not luckily for me, it was just before the time of COVID. So I had a few months working with the epidemiologist from Cuba who was there. And we would have worked together to do those daily outputs that you saw during COVID time to say how many persons were affected and how many persons were getting better, whether they were male or female, etc. After that, I then went now to the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, where I still am, and I work as a part of a national accounts team. And what do? We collect statistics from all the territories in the region, and we're able to feed that into different indicators, whether it be GDP, REANIA, CPI, different indicators that our governments can use to then inform their decision making. Outside of now the standard professional life, I would have also gotten the experience to work in transportation with JJ's Taxi and Tours, doing those accounts and those statistics and the data necessary for him to make certain decisions in his business. And then together now we would have created SKN Cabs. So SKN Cabs is basically, it's an app for transportation. Just like how you have Uber in America, you have SKN Cabs in St. Kitts, you book rides, etc. And through that experience, statistics was also applied, and maths, along with some programming and some app development work, some social media, some marketing, and all of that. And along that way now, I would have also done a master's in marketing and data analytics again at UWI. So you see, from all of that long preamble, statistics takes you through a myriad of different career opportunities. So you don't have to feel limited to say, oh, I'm going to do maths, I'm going to do statistics, and I'm stuck in a particular area. You can have a love for science and apply statistics with that. You can have a love for engineering and apply statistics with that. You can have a love for posting on social media and use statistics to help that benefit you and make you grow, right? So what problems do we solve as statisticians? Well, if I look at my career, I don't have a PowerPoint because I wanted it to be more discussion, but I just want to finish the background of it. At health, we would have been able to monitor different trends in different types of diseases. So for example, as I said, it was COVID, we were able to monitor whether the cases were going up or going down. In the case of HIV and AIDS, you're able to monitor how many persons are being infected and what type of programs may be needed to slow down the spread of certain diseases. In terms of accounting, which I would have done at TDC, you can use that to do future projections and probabilities of what certain business decisions would result in. In terms of the app, you're able to use statistics to optimize your decisions. Where do I need most of my drivers? Where are my runs coming from? How much is people willing to pay? When I increase the price, what happens? What do customers do? Do they stop using the app? Or is my service so good that they don't care about the price and I could carry it up even higher? All of these things are decisions that statistics help you to make in an informed way, right? So if I were to ask you, for example, if I were to tell you to come up here and tell us about why you want to do a career in mathematics, but you'll get paid to come up and say it, right? If 3 of you come up, we'll give you a chance to win 90% of $100,000. Or you can choose to walk away with a guaranteed $10,000. Which option would you choose? 3 of you come up. You can choose between having the chance to win 90% of $100,000. So that's $90,000. Or you can choose to each be guaranteed pay a payment of $10,000. What would you choose? Anybody? A chance at 90 or a guaranteed 10? The guaranteed 10, right? Because in your mind, probably, the risk is lower. You're walking away with something in your hand and just... Well, there's a risk if you chose the 90% of 10,000 because it would be a chance. But 2 will walk away with nothing and 1 will go with the 90, but they chose the guaranteed way. So each of them will walk away with the $10,000. In that option, right. So there's no risk in that option. And just in that small scenario, you would have done some level of risk management and mitigation and use probability to try to make a sound decision, right? And in that way, statisticians think and move and grow in our careers. The next thing you might ask, where do we work? We work everywhere. Statistics carries you anywhere you want to go, in any field you are interested in. We work everywhere. As I said, I did health, I did finance, I did technology, I did entrepreneurship. Some persons teach, some persons do consulting, some persons do business assistance, like helping you start your businesses, helping you monitor your growth, that kind of thing. So really and truly, a profession in maths and statistics takes you into any field that you want to go into. And how to join this career? Education. Education is the key. The key to success. It may sound cliche, but you want to make yourself as educated as possible. So Xavier spoke about professional groups for actuaries. There are also those for statisticians. I would have joined the American Association of Statisticians when I was a student. And there are other groups out there that you can join because you want to surround yourself with like-minded people who know where you can go in the career. It doesn't make sense to surround yourself with people who can ask you, what are you going to do with that? And then everybody doing the same thing, and then you're battling for jobs at the end of the day. If your mind is telling you, go into something with math, go into something with statistics, follow your mind and surround yourself with the people that can push you in that regard and that can give you the proper guidance and the proper motivation. For me, I did my degree at UWI, but do your research. UWI is a great institution. I went to the Mona campus, and I've taught at the Open campus before the Introductory to Data Analysis Tools course. In addition to that, I would say experience. While at UWI, I did a student exchange that took me to Canada, and I was able to see a different way that statistics is applied, expose myself to different programs that may not be used at UWI but are being used internationally. So you want to try to spread your wings and get as much experience as you can, be it internships, online webinars, talking to persons in the field, anything at all that can help you. That's what I would say would be the way to join a profession in maths, in addition to what all the other presenters before me would have shared. So what's my typical day like as a statistician? I collect information, I go through the data, I validate, I ask questions, I interrogate the information, I analyze, and I work with a team of people. There's no standalone in certain institutions, and where I am now, we work as a team. So each of us are assigned to different countries, and we have different country teams, and our teams are made up of statisticians in economics, monetary and financial, then we have an economist, an actual economist, and then we have an advisor, and we all serve together on a team to make different decisions and to come up with different output. So team building skills is also very necessary. And then, so yes, how do I use math in my everyday job? Well, math is my job. So the essence of what I do is based on statistics and maths. So it is being used every day, daily, all concepts. Right? So I'll now open to any questions that you may have, because I've said a mouthful. So I now want you to ask anything that you can ask, and I would gladly try my best to respond.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is going to be a bit of a sore topic, but with AI, how has that made your job easier, or has it given you a cause for concern?
Or better.
Okay. For me, AI has not given me a cause for concern. AI is almost like my, you could say, best friend. Of course, on my job, I use it within the parameters of what is allowed at work. Not every workplace allows you to use AI tools freely. There are concerns about confidentiality of information and what is being shared with these tools, some of which may be chatbots. You may be familiar with like ChatGPT. You have special AI tools that are built for certain institutions that they use. You have AI technicians or specialists who work in certain institutions, but not all institutions are at that point. So with respect to what is allowed, you use it within those parameters. Now, in your own everyday life, like let's take, for example, SKN Cabs, that was something that we built from little background of coding knowledge, right? A little bit of information in that regard. Yes, I know my numbers, but I don't know my codes. And so AI was able to assist me with that. We had a team, but I was able to ask AI any question without having to go through multiple websites and lots of overloads of information and get data on how to code, how to develop that software, what was the best way to go, what was the best team to use, and that kind of thing. So AI is really a good companion. Of course, you don't take it wholesale. You have to have some background knowledge of what you're asking it to know if it's giving you the right information, because you don't want to be misguided by these tools. Just like everything on the internet is not 100% accurate, everything that an AI tool gives you when you initially start using it is not 100% accurate, but you train it, right? Just like how you train ChatGPT. So you log into it, I may be talking to you, you're getting to know me, you now know where I work. But at first when you asked ChatGPT, where does Kayla work? It may have told you that she works at CFBC, just because it picked up a location of me being at CFBC, but I don't work here, right? So you have to have some level of background knowledge, and then the AI tool becomes a complement to that.
I have a question from online. Let me just chip it in. The question is, how do you see mathematics and its application changing due to the integration of technology in the field? So I guess the sender is looking at your view as to how should maths change, maybe in our classrooms and applying maths based on, AI and all of these things we're seeing. Should we really change what we're doing?
But I mean, I don't think the foundation of maths would ever change. 2 plus 2 will always be 4. But how you get to the 4 is where the change is, right? The technology and the tools that you use are an amplification of your already set foundation and skills. Don't look at it as a threat. Look at it as an opportunity for you to expand. The time that you took to sit down and write out 2 plus 2 equals 4, a system could have given that to you, and you could have used that time to do something more advanced or a little bit harder. What if I take that 4 and square it? What do I get with that? So you look at the technology as something that amplifies your existing skills. And I feel like if we were to enhance what we teach to include various types of tools, it would be better for the students, because we're not teaching them just to operate in the circle that we have. We're teaching them to operate anywhere they want to go. So internationally, when I went to Canada, I remember they were using, I think, 2 different programs that we didn't use at UE, right? And the teacher was teaching under the assumption that everybody in the class knew these programs. So they weren't trying to teach me how to figure it out. But thankfully to different tools, I was able to then use them to help me to interpret the tools. So I was able, let's use R as an example. R is a software that we use to write code for statistics. It gives you different models, different programs, different everything. But you may not always understand what it is it's giving you. It's like trying to write Chinese with an English background only, right? And I would be able to go online and Google, and I know you could use ChatGPT, and you could put in these codes and say, well, what does this mean? And it gives you an explanation, right? Or you can say, I'm getting this error. What does that mean? And it helps you. It's like a friend that you would WhatsApp and say, girl, I can't get my shoes tied. Can you help me? And it helps you, right? So I wouldn't look at it as a bad thing. I would look at it as an opportunity to diversify our skill set and help us to amplify what we already have and make us better, more marketable on a global scale. And as a result of that, then you'll get better output from students or persons when they go out into the field.
Okay, you have another question?
One quick follow-up, because I know we have time. I think that with AI now, one of the things that it should be very good at is numbers, because the numbers typically never lie. So I'm thinking that, while trust is a bit of an issue at these institutions, I think that if we are able to build our own in-house solutions where we know that the data never leaves this premises and is able to crunch that, I think that we can be a lot more efficient with our time. That's it. It's just a comment.
Thank you for the comment.
Okay, thank
And
you,
I agree.
Miss. Oh, sorry. You had a feedback?
I think,
Yeah.
you had up your hand?
Okay, so thank you, Ms. Farrell. We took pleasure in listening to how statistics can be used broadly, not just in the world, but right here in St. Kitts. I wasn't aware of the SKN cabs, so if I'm without trans anytime, I could check it out. And this is just a quick question for my good colleague, Mr. Enanga. He keeps saying numbers don't lie. What about the persons who read the numbers?
They'll tell you to read Deuteronomy or Leviticus.
Okay. Thank you again, Ms. Farrell. Okay, we at the end. We have heard a lot about UWI, and we have a special lady from UWI who would speak to us, probably with regards to how you can use UWI as a conduit to your career. So here is Miss Gail Phillip.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Okay. Are you seeing my screen? Okay, my name is Gail Gray Phillip, and I am the head of the University of the West Indies Global Campus for St. Kitts and Nevis. As Ms. Farrell said, I taught her applied maths. I taught here at CFBC for 21 years. So I am, pardon? No. Okay, that's your mark, but you still won't need that.
This is going to work with mine. It worked already.
Yeah, but I've used this here already. Yeah. Okay, try it again. I've used this laptop here already. Oh, okay. Okay. All right, thanks about that. Yes, so I consider myself part of the CFBC family. All right, so the University of the West Indies. I don't know if it was planned, but I realized that all of the presenters attended UWI. I think it's just by chance. Is it? It wasn't planned, was it? It wasn't planned. But all the presenters attended the University of the West Indies. The University of the West Indies was established in 1948 in Jamaica with 30-something medical students. So we have a campus now in Jamaica, that's the largest campus. Both these two presenters attended Mona, University of the West Indies in Jamaica. And just looking around, I'm seeing a lot of UWI graduates. Cave Hill, St. Augustine, Cave Hill also, right? A lot of UWI graduates all over, all over the place. So there's a campus also in Trinidad and Tobago. One of the presenters indicated he attended there. Cave Hill. We also have a new campus in Antigua, 5 Islands. We call it our baby sister. And we have the Global Campus. The Global Campus offers the degrees fully online. So that's the campus I work for. However, I'm also the UWI representative, so whenever any officials from any of the UWI campuses come to St. Kitts, I'm responsible for them. Our office, you may see it across from the Cenotaph. Now, the University of the West Indies is an internationally respected global university. We have nearly 50,000 students across the 5 campuses, and we also have global centers, partnerships with universities in North America, Latin America, Asia, Africa, and Europe. We offer over 1,000 certificates, degrees, diplomas, both undergrad and postgrad degrees in numerous fields. Now we're talking, well, before I get to that, UWI is ranked #1 in the Caribbean, and I'm not saying that because I went to UWI, but the data, the statistic shows that. And there's a Times Higher Education out of the UK. They gather data from universities across the world, and they do the ranking, right? So they have ranked UWI as #1 in the Caribbean. We're in the top 1.5% in the world, the top 20 in Latin America, and in the top 10 for world-aged universities. That's a university is over 70 years old. I pulled this photo from Mona's Department of Statistics. Talks about career in mathematics, and it lists the various careers. #1 is a familiar one we spoke about there. We have statisticians, we have computer programmers, bankers, mathematical modelers, etc. And with a good background in math, you have good problem-solving abilities and excellent analytical skills, right? And these skills are needed for employment in all industries. I looked at all the different campuses in their Department of Math to try to pull out the degrees that are currently offered. There's a Bachelor's of Science in Mathematics major. You could also minor in mathematics, and it's offered in Mona, St. Augustine, Cave Hill. Actuarial Science, which Mr. Bass did, a BSc in Actuarial Science, offered in Mona, Jamaica, St. Augustine in Trinidad. Mathematics and Modeling Processes. Mathematics of Finance. So with Mathematics of Finance, you would look at maths, computer science, economics, accounting, actuarial science, financial management, and you have possible careers in financial consulting, financial advisor, etc. Mathematics with education studies. So this will prepare somebody to teach math, but this is out of the Faculty of Science and Technology, Department of Maths. So there's a heavy maths component. So you're still going to study math in depth to make you an expertise at a degree level. You have statistical science, statistics and economics. You could also do a double major in maths at Cave Hill. All right, so these are just some of the maths. Miss Farrell Mills did her degree not with Science and Technology Department of Maths, but in social sciences, right? So there are many other, these are just some that I pulled out. So there are many other areas with math-related degrees. I won't go to the masters because we're not interested in that. How do we get into one of these faculties? 5 CSEC subjects with grades 1 to 3 or A-level. Some of us don't do A-level anymore. You must have English language, you must have maths, you must have at least 2 approved lab science subjects and 2 double units of CAPE. So unit 1 and 2, 2 double units of CAPE from bio, chemistry, geography, math, physics, and computer science, right? To get in full time. But you have to, that's just general, because you can also, different programs may have different requirements. If you're going to do medicine, of course, it will have a different requirement. So you look to see what program you want to do and look carefully to see the requirements. And that is something you should do from before you register for your CAPE courses, to ensure that you know where you want to go from here and what are the requirements. I mentioned that you don't have to be in the Faculty of Science and Technology. With the global campus, we offer a BSc in economics. That's math related, right? And with the global campus, as I said before, we offer our degrees fully online. So our students stay here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and they pursue their University of the West Indies degree fully online in economics. So most of our students work and study on a part-time basis. So that's also an opportunity for you. They told me I had 5 to 7 minutes to talk, so my presentation is at the end, but it's now ended. But I saw this today on social media. I was going to say Facebook, but I know the younger people don't know Facebook. So on social media, I saw this photo today. Finally found the square root. You get the joke? Thought I'll share that. All right. So thank you very much for listening.
Any quick questions from students?
I see a question from Mr. Bass.
Mr. Bass?
That's a very good question, because it all depends also on the campus and the faculty that you're in. So if you're doing law, if I recall correctly, law is quoted in US, and medicine, I don't know the figures out my head. If you are doing it with the global campus, that I know is approximately $30,000, but you pay as you go. right? It's not expected up front. But let me say, though, too, that the cost of studying with UWI in our region will be much less than if you were to go outside of the region.
Any other questions, quickly? Okay, thank you,
Art, you're
Ms.
most
Phillips,
welcome.
for giving us the pathway through UWI with respect to our math careers. At this time, we call upon a student to give the vote of thanks, and as soon as he's finished, we would have Dr. Etienne, who would just give closing remarks as we end a wonderful program.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As we conclude this enlightening session on math careers, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed panelists for their invaluable insight and expertise. Your experiences have illuminated the diverse pathways that mathematics offers, inspiring us all to explore further. A special thank you to our organizers for bringing this event to life, and to our audience for your engaging questions. May we all leave here motivated to pursue our passions in mathematics. Thank you.
The genesis behind this discussion is Dr. Etienne, and he will just give some closing remarks.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am very, very happy that we were able to have this discussion. I think the students are a little more informed as to what they can do with mathematics. I am also thinking that we can probably create a database so that they can use it to refine their thinking on the areas of mathematics that they may be interested in. I want to thank sincerely all of our presenters. At first, I was a little skeptical that this may not work out. It's the first time for me, but I am very, very, very happy that we were able to pull it off, and God was able to keep us through it. Thank you so very much, presenters, for being here. Thank you so very much, students, for being here and paying attention. I hope that when you leave here, you leave with mathematics in your heart. Remember, the heartbeat, the numbers add up, okay? And they have to stay at a certain rate. So the math is so important, even your heart works on it. Thank you again, and stay blessed. God be with you.
Okay, so we have come to the end of our discussion session. I hope it has been truly productive for you, informative, and that all, whether you're here physically or you're online, you're now more informed as to how we can use math in our career path. Thank you again.